So you obviously have been in the field in Kentucky, right?
Hmm.
So tell me what areas you've been covering.
I've been covering Mayfield, Kentucky, and the tornado that hit there.
And so, what was your first reaction when you arrived on the scene there after it happened?
So when we were driving through, it slowly kept getting worse, and then once we hit, the first thing we saw was like that street going into the candle factory. And I remember I was with Nolan, and our first reaction once we saw it, we said, "Oh my God!" It literally looks like a war zone. It was horrible. And then when you go into town, everything looks like that. If you just keep going on, and then you have certain areas that weren't touched at all, but the places that were hit, it's completely gone.
Is it like flattened? I mean, from what we're looking
It
through, how do
just
you even drive through it?
when we were driving first one, because we got there that morning right after it happened, you had to be really careful. It's power lines down everywhere. Most of them were dead, but you smell natural gas in certain places. Then when I went back yesterday morning, most of the roads are clear, except for a few power lines and debris. But when you go like where houses and properties were, it's like it's ridiculous. I don't think anything was kept standing where I was at yesterday. It was brick houses were down, signs were touching the floor. It just everything. It's just hard to describe when you're not there. Pictures kind of just don't do it justice.
And how emotional was it, driving through there, seeing that and speaking to some of the people who live or are from that area?
It was a lot. Yesterday I was able to speak to one woman who was inside the candle factory, and she was looking for her boyfriend. Unfortunately, they found him and he didn't make it. But it was just hard to, you would never think something like this would happen so close to you. And it's when you see it in your face, it's really heartbreaking.
I was gonna say, how hard was it being right there at that candle factory, seeing all the devastation there, and then speaking to someone who knew someone that was
Oh yeah.
in that building?
Yeah, it's you have to be really just delicate and sensitive about the situation. I mean, yeah, I was just thinking about it, if I were to ask somebody, first of all, how would I feel if this was me in this situation? Would I want somebody to speak to me? And if so, how would I want somebody to speak to me? So just being really delicate of the situation and just letting them know whatever they don't want to answer, don't answer. Whatever you're not comfortable saying, don't, this is you're the one that has, that's doing an interview. I'm asking you. But just being really delicate of who wants to, but also helping people find the missing family members. Most of the people who are doing this are people they haven't seen since that night. So also just letting them know that we're here to help them. We're here to help them find their family members that they're looking for that were in the candle factory that night.
And so, is that the only area that you were at the other
Yeah,
day
that's
at
the
the
only
candle
area that I
factory?
was at. I know like Mike Mahandro went to like Tennessee, and T went to Hayti. I don't know if anybody went to Arkansas. I want to say maybe Jeremy, but I'm not sure.
And so, tell me about just what else you saw when you got there. I looked a little bit at your Facebook Live, and you were kind of describing a scene where I saw a school bus that was completely just smashed to the ground.
Hmm. Yeah, so that's so interesting. Right where I was standing, I didn't know until after my live. That area supposedly was like one of their fire departments, and like you would never think that. And then I was looking at pictures before, it was like a water tower. So like that, what you saw there was like the whole, literally, like if you kept walking, it looked like almost like an apocalypse or like a war zone, like I said. So like when you go past the candle factory, if you keep going straight, that's when you just see both sides, just damage on both sides of the streets. Pretty much every building is gone. Um, Power lines are down. I think I saw so many brick houses that were just, they weren't houses anymore, they're just bricks. And then yesterday when I went back a day later, it also got really cold. So a lot of debris had like ice on it and stuff. Um, and it's just hard to think that anybody can really make it through that. It didn't look like in the where I was at too. There were trees on the street, power lines were down, water veins were broken. And then if the night of, the wind was still kind of strong. So if it's small debris like branches and stuff, you had to be careful to make sure it wasn't coming your way. Trying to see what else I could describe. there were people, I did see some families there looked like they were going through stuff, but the city did have a curfew. So they closed that off. Then gas stations, there's one gas station across the street from a bank right outside the damage. The line was like to the street. It wasn't as bad the next day, but I know the gas station was only taking cash and people were asking me if I had cash. So it was just a lot of people just trying to adjust to something and going to homes or even trying to get their stuff, but they can't because almost nothing is like salvageable.
Yeah, I'm just gonna change our phone here 1 second. And so were you able to speak to some more families who were there trying to go back and just assess all the damage there?
Yes, I talked to two homeowners. One homeowner, he during the storm was going to his neighbor and they went to the basement and stuff. And he said it sounded like somebody picked his house up and threw it on the ground. And then he said maybe just thought his porch was messed up. And then when he came back out, he saw his home was destroyed. And actually him and that neighbor had bought a house right next to them to renovate. And they had I guess they were going to host their first guests this week, but then this tornado happened. So that won't be happening, he says, anytime soon. And he doesn't think he can get his money back. And then I talked to another homeowner who was living in his house since 1993. So he says right now is just trying to figure out where to put his stuff at. He says storage units are destroyed in Mayfield. And then other ones, it's hard to find space because so many people are looking for the same thing. So it's just people just trying to figure it out. And it's it happened over the weekend, but this is something that's going to take them probably months to adjust. There's just so many people who now need a new home. Where do you put all these people?
And have you seen this place before the tornado took place?
I had never been to Mayfield. I've been to Paducah and Benton, but I saw pictures of stuff and some of the people were showing me pictures of their backyards and it was so pretty, and their houses were these old town style houses and pretty flowers and beautiful lawns. And you would never think that once you saw the damage there.
And like you said before, it's cold and people are trying to go back and look at all the damage. How is that? Just dealing with the weather on top of damage.
Honestly, it was cold. I mean, I was pretty bundled up, but that wasn't even my concern. It was just trying to talk to people. I mean, it wasn't super duper uncomfortable. It wasn't the best weather, but I mean, you don't. How are you feeling that moment kind of just becomes irrelevant compared to what these people are going through.
Is it anything like you've seen before?
No. I was able to go to the tornado that happened in Dexter, and that was nowhere near as bad as this. I'm trying to think any other disasters. This one's in St. Mary was pretty bad, but it was just nothing like this, something that wiped out a whole town. No.
And just finding out that they're still doing search and rescue for people to find their family members is just unbelievable.
Yeah. And it sucks that the numbers yet you don't have any confirmed numbers. We're still doing the search and rescue, even just all through Kentucky and other states. So it just almost, I guess this uncertainty makes it agonizing because you want to know, you just want these people to get closure.
And so do you have any plans to go back out there? You were there Saturday and Sunday, correct?
Yes. Well, so it's finals week for me. So Roger's keeping me close. But I do plan to, maybe tomorrow, I'm not sure if I'll be able to go back, but I'm pretty sure coverage will continue probably even into next week and stuff, because it's going to take a while for these people to adjust. And yes, national news is there, but once they're gone, local news, this is who's going to be reporting it. So I definitely do see myself either going back to Mayfield or any other place that was hit by the tornadoes.
Have you had a chance to speak to any of the other reporters just out there, even from your station, just about, the emotional impact this is taking on everyone?
No, I've been talking to like other reporters from other like networks and stuff. And they say the same thing. It just sucks that we have to come out for this reason. And they thank us for sharing their story, but we just wish it wasn't this way.